What is up, everybody? It is your boy Lou Martinez, aka Big Chief Burrito, live with you on a Monday, holiday week, December 22nd, 2020. Hope everybody is having a happy holiday season. Merry Christmas, Merry Kwanzaa, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Festivus, anything that you are celebrating this year. Hopefully, we get to the end of 2020 right quick here within a couple of days, and we move on to bigger and better things as a family. I want to thank you guys for checking us out. As always, make sure that you are following on facebook.com/2mburrito so you can be notified every time we go live, twitch.tv/2mburrito as well. Another place in case you like to watch gamers, interviews, podcasts, what have you. Also, youtube.com/2mburrito where you can catch up on all our old films, etc. As always, leave a like, share the stream, leave a comment. Today we're going to be talking about COVID protocols on a movie set. But before I wanted to get to that, wanted to really quickly give a shout out to the United States government for giving us $600 after making $150,000 this year, deciding whether we were worthy of getting our $600. How does that not piss you the fuck off, man? What are you going to spend your $600 on? Huh? Gucci belt? That's a good one. Feed your kids. I couldn't even pay my cell phone bill for $600 for the last 6 months, but that's neither here nor there. That's just some fucked up shit happening to us, man. That's something that's very rare. It's a very rare where Republicans, Democrats, centrists, everybody can agree we're getting fucked over by the government. LRG, big ups to LRG for sending a fit. The other day, I use the LRG shirt almost every stream, so if they want to sponsor the stream, that would be incredible. Happy Saturn Jupiter Day. That's another thing that's happening. How do we know they're not about to smash into each other and destroy the universe as we know it? Questions about that, leave them in the comment section. Do we have any astrologists in the chat? Let me know. And I'm also looking for Marvel and Star Wars experts because I want to do a deep dive into the new Star Wars universe. And I also want to do kind of a recap of Marvel movies, etc. So I know a few people that I've talked to are into that, but we want to talk about that. So the whole reason that this pod came about is when I had Jace on the other day, we were talking about the Last Chance series, which is a short web series or pilot episode for like a TV series that is being made here in San Diego. And the reason I came up is because I saw a separate set of filmmakers from the ones that I'm talking to you today, where they were having a wrap party, and one of them was talking into the camera, and then they panned around. There was like 25 people, and none of them, maybe two of them, were wearing masks. So my beef, and I said it to Jace because I said, hey, I talked shit about these filmmakers yesterday, so I can't leave you guys off the hook. But in my mind, as I was referring to the previous filmmakers, if you're not paying somebody and you're not following federally mandated guidelines that the movie industry has put in place for COVID protocols, and if you are not abiding to those guidelines and you're not paying people, then I think it is a bit of a, I don't think it's good to take people's desire to be part of a film set, to be part of a movie, to get credits, and bring them onto a set that's not adhering to those protocols when they're not getting paid. And what I said was, your shitty web series can wait till March. And again, I was referencing, nobody's going to commit suicide because your indie zombie series isn't out on YouTube, right? Nobody's fucking, when we say that people need arts, people need that, that's not what we're talking about. So that was my standpoint. That was from where I was talking to. Obviously, when I saw in March the way things were going, I was like, I don't realistically see myself on a movie set for the next 6 months to a year. That's because obviously I'm not in the best shape. I take care of a 90-year-old dude that's got all the pre-existing conditions for COVID. So I got to be extra careful in my life. So I work from home already, and the only people that come in and out of my house are me, my dogs, my girlfriend. That's about it. So that being said, when we were talking to Jace, Mr. Jack felt a certain type of way about it. He was like, hey, let me come on and defend myself. He fucking dropped into my email before the stream was even over, and he was like, here's these protocols, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, damn, okay, all right. I said, you know what, let's just have you on. I'm going to give you your day in court. You can tell me that I'm wrong. We can have a discussion about it. And I really think it's important to just really be open about it because, I used to do a podcast which was about the independent film struggle with San Diego as a case study, and George was a guest on that podcast called Indie Apocalypse back in the day. So I've always used San Diego as a case study when I talk about independent filmmaking. There's what Indie Apocalypse meant is that the technology barrier had been breached. We can shoot with cameras that are just as good as Netflix uses, just as good as any studio uses. And if you have the skill and you have the right script, you have the right cast, and you have the right idea, you can put out a product that is comparable to it. So a lot of people in San Diego are hungry. They're hungry to be on a film set. They're hungry to help out. When a guy like George Jack and says, hey, this is my debut directorial experience, which I want to talk to him about as well, switching from the actor side to the director side. And people are going to jump at that chance. So my theory is it copacetic? Is it cool to have people work for you during this time frame when they're not getting paid? Is there such a thing as being able to do that responsibly? Right? And George seems to think that there is. So, like I said, I'm willing to hear him out. I'm willing to hear his side. I'm willing to hear him out. So let me welcome on the show, first-time director, Last Chance series. We've worked together on 2 projects before, but we could have worked together on a shitload other, but just timing wasn't right. Mr. George Jack.
Good to be here, bro.
Thank you for having me back. Another side note is that you were on the first live episode of Fireside Chats when I was just when like 5 minutes before I went on, I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to do this one live. And we had a couple of technical glitches or whatever. And you're like, well, I was a guinea pig, but we still had a cool chat that's still available for people to watch. But I wanted to give you the opportunity to come on. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well, man.
All right. Well, the floor is yours, sir.
Listening to your introduction there, I think I kind of misunderstood from your last podcast with Jace. I thought you were talking about our set. So
no. What I said was if I say that about another set, and then my homies are doing a set, are also on a separate set. Like from what I saw from yours, I still had some issues, I would say, but it wasn't as bad as what I had seen other places. So if my original rant was about that, then when I'm like, oh well, George is my friend, Jace is my friend, and I don't want to be like Two-Face, So that's why I was like, and then what I literally said is my view of you as a filmmaker is lowered when I was talking about them. But when I saw who it was that was doing that, it was like, oh, in my mind, those were already the most unprofessional filmmakers in San Diego. So it wasn't like a shock to me that they would be doing that. But just tell us a little bit about, like, obviously you're a conscious guy. Tell us a little bit about the steps that you took to make sure that you felt comfortable doing that, shooting.
Well, I think first thing that I want to address before going into all that is you kind of allude to the fact that it sounds like maybe you're saying that I'm taking advantage of people who want to be on set and not paying them. So because they're starving to be on set, it's kind of forcing their hand and thinking that this is their only opportunity to get on set, and that's not necessarily the case. So for me, just like everybody else, we all suffered through COVID. I don't know if I told you about this in our last podcast, but 2019 was my most prolific year as an actor. And having lost all of it in March, April, May, June, I was like legitimately depressed, bro. Like I was looking to join the Coast Guard, Navy, some shit to get me out of the film industry because I wasn't sure what the future of the film industry and my career within that looked like from here on out because of COVID. So I dealt with a little bit of that. Then finally, after I got over that hump and I actually got inspired by other filmmakers, Jody Silly, who created that quarantine film challenge, and a bunch of all my peers and friends were making films during this time. So it kind of inspired me to get off my ass and do something about it. So I decided I was going to make my own films instead of being in them, because obviously I wasn't in any because all my acting gigs were gone. So with that being said, I decided to ask Jace first, who's the star in Last Chance, if he wanted to reprise his role in Last Chance, because I originally made the first episode in December of 2019 and it got into San Diego Film Week. I didn't think anything was going to like happen after that for the project, but as we just went over the background, I decided that that would be a good place to continue to start making my films because I could just build upon what I started. So I asked him if he would be okay with it. And I know you talked to him last week. Jace is somebody who's very conscious about his health, especially with underlying health issues. So I wanted to ask his opinion on it. If we were careful with protocols for COVID, would he be down to do that? And he said, yeah, man, I'm with you. I'll support you. So I asked him if he wanted to support me and be a producer in it. He said, yeah. So it kickstarted my ass into gear. So I ended up writing 7 more webisodes, which are about 4 to 6 pages each. So I cranked them out within like 2 to 3 weeks. I want to say it was really fast turnaround. And then I found a couple other people who were down to shoot and just wanted to grow as filmmakers and work on flexing their creative muscles during this time because nobody is getting the chance to. So in no way was this set up to like, I don't know, like for vanity. It's not for vanity. It's not like to get our faces out there. It's really just to flex our creative muscles and to grow as a filmmaking team and community. So I wanted to find people who were on the same page as me as that. And I found obviously over 25 cast and crew who were down to do that.
Well, I wasn't just to address quickly what you said, which was that I made it seem like you were taking. I don't mean that you're taking advantage of people. What I mean is that we're in an industry and we're in a quote unquote film society here in San Diego where very rarely do people get paid for their work, and in some cases people have their entire filmmaking calendar set around competitions where you can pay people so they can very easily ask people to work for free. Mm-hmm. So there's always people like on an indie film set, the last person that gets paid are the actors because they're always the hungriest to act. They're always looking for more stuff. So from the perspective that a professional movie set with a budget that is paying you, you're signing a contract, you have some sort of recourse if you feel that the production is not professional enough or that they're putting you in danger. You know what I mean? Like, so that I feel that there's a difference. As well-meaning as you might be intentioning to say that, you are a known commodity here. So when you put it out there that you want people to work with you, I think that under normal conditions, people are going to jump at the chance. The same way when I put something out there, people jump at the chance to work with me on one of my projects. But the big difference there is the payment. So I feel that even if you have well-meaning intentions during that time, there's still people that can put the fear aside because that hunger or that desire to be part of something is greater. So I don't mean to say that you intentionally were taking advantage of people or saying, I know how to get people to work for me for free during the pandemic. You know what I mean? Like, that wasn't my intention.
Yeah. Okay, I get it. Another thing I want to touch on is payment is, especially in this industry, it's the value that you're being provided by the production, right? So it doesn't necessarily mean getting money in your pocket. It means value to you as an artist to further your brand, further your career in whatever respective role you're trying to achieve within the film industry. So one thing that I knew, what's that?
Exposure bucks.
Not exposure. No, not exposure. I'm telling
you. I know what you're saying, but I'm just, I'm cracking the joke. That's like the old, you're gonna get paid because, as long as you are giving people their credit.
Credit.
You give it. You're cool with giving people their footage. I understand what you're saying.
But even more than that, I wanted to provide them with something that they could be proud of, something that had high production value, and something that would be able to replace that monetary value that they would be losing by joining the project. And I knew I could do that because I didn't get into this earlier in the background of what I was talking about, but I decided, along with writing those scripts and trying to find a team, I decided to invest in myself as a director, filmmaker. I bought a ton of equipment during COVID. That's what I used my stimulus package for back then, as well as some of the money that I'm earning from my day job, which is at GNC. I invested in a ton of equipment so I could do it all myself. I taught myself literally how to do everything. I bought a computer on how to edit, taught myself how to edit, color, do sound design, sound mixing, everything, just for Last Chance. But I wanted to provide everybody with an experience as well. So I wanted everybody to get a better experience than I was provided in many of the sets that I worked on in San Diego. So that was one of the big motivating factors for me is I wanted to give people an experience that they haven't gotten before on an indie set down here. And I think I'm doing that. Go ahead.
So what are the steps that you took after you get Jace on board? You start pumping out the scripts. You're going to do this. You're switching from the acting chair to the director's chair, which I think is impressive. And you start getting on board, but you have to give people some sort of list of things, list of actions that you've taken so that they feel comfortable coming on set. How do you decide how far you're going to take it, or what you're going to require of people and what you're going to require of yourself?
Well, the first thing that I did was scheduling was the most important thing to me. I don't know if you took a look at the COVID protocol that I emailed you, but one of the first items on that list was scheduling out the actors to where they would not overlap the times that they were going to be there as best as possible, because sometimes it's just not possible at all. But I wanted to be as sensible about having as little or as least amount of people possible on set at a time. So that was the first thing that I did. I also took a safe sets COVID compliance course back in July or August. It was a pretty easy, and to me it was a commonsensical course on how to run your sets. But I learned a lot from that, and I also learned a lot from Vet TV. So that was one of the main roles that I got this year as an actor, and I was on Vet TV. I can't remember when, but it was like maybe a couple months back, and their COVID protocols were phenomenal. Like there was 48 hours in advance that you had to sign a questionnaire that you weren't exposed to anybody with COVID. You didn't have COVID within 14 days. You didn't have any symptoms of being sick, all this shit. Then you had to re-sign it when you got to set. They were like walking around with hand sanitizer every 15 minutes to everybody, and you couldn't refuse it. Like there was all kinds of precautions that were taken on that set, and I was thoroughly impressed with how they handled it. So I wanted to do this. I wanted to do the same because I didn't want to run into this issue where people were calling me out for not being thoughtful and sensible about being safe on set during a pandemic.
Oh wow, like me. What are you talking about? Oh man, I don't know. I'm just kidding. No, I feel you. And like I said, I still think it's an important conversation to have, because if you look at it from a purely political standpoint, and I don't know if you have any alternate headphones, because I still hear you cracking a little bit, so I don't know if it's your headphones or if they're hearing or if anything. So maybe we can try to change those when we get the rest of the crew on. I'll talk to them for a little bit, and then you can see if you can, because I want people to be able to hear you, and you were cracking a little bit.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Hold on.
Yeah, you're still cracking a little bit. Let me know if anybody can hear. If it's maybe it's
Still
just
cracking.
me. I don't know. Actually, maybe people that can hear me. Are you guys hearing George crack as well, or is it just me that's hearing him? Because it could just be me hearing you from my interconnection cracking a little bit. Yeah, you say you're still cracking up a little bit. Either way, we can deal with it, but maybe when I bring the other guys on, you can switch to your computer audio. It might work. It might be because they're Bluetooth that we're getting a little bit of a crack.
Gotcha.
No, and I lost my train of thought now. But the reason that another thing. Okay, let's look at it from a specific standpoint of yeah, he's cracking. People are saying he's cracking. Get it? Jace just says get better headphones. G. Joey said he's cracking. All right, cool. All right, so here's my question to you, or here's the thing, right? If we look at it from a strictly logistical standpoint, San Diego ICU levels are like 90+%. There's people that are asymptomatic, that are healthy people. I told Jason, he's like, well, I'm not that healthy. But from my perspective, I see you and Jace as being healthy dudes, and and then I saw some of the other people that you had on set all seem to be like healthy young people that may not even flinch or think about something if it hits you, especially if it's the 99% thing, right? Mm-hmm. Then you have these crazy rules in California because we're so in love with filmmaking where you can't dine in a restaurant in person, but you can be on a movie set. So it's a weird, it's a weird correlation between what the narrative is of what people should be doing, what scientists and people are doing, and then what politicians are telling you that we shouldn't be doing. They're like, all right, we're in Los Angeles, we're in California, movie sets get a pass. They're like, we're shutting down bars, churches, restaurants, but movie sets, we gotta keep making movies. We are in fucking California. That's what we do, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of a weird atmosphere out there where, like I said, I never thought, I'm number one to say that we need to shut everything down. What I think is that we need to rethink how things are open and be smart about it. And businesses should be allowed to stay open as long as they adhere to certain guidelines and rules and stuff. That's my thought process.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking at it a little bit jelly, because in my mind, I can't get myself to the point where I'm like, yeah, I got this idea, I'm going to shoot it. I'm like, nah, I got to quarantine myself. If I go on a movie set, how comfortable do I feel coming back and taking care of my dad the next day? That's all the things that I'm looking at it from a very personal perspective, but I'm also thinking about it as an independent filmmaker. So I'm assuming that you had some sort of struggle with that thought process, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if you know this about me, but my mom has gone through some instances with her health that has left her immunocompromised, and she lives in San Diego along with myself. So it's tough, man. I mean, I haven't been able to see her really in person very much. We haven't hugged this entire time, which is the weirdest thing in the world, and it sucks. But I understand what it's like to have somebody in your life who is more at risk than everybody else. So, with that being said, I have to be sensible about it with everybody else in mind. Also, with that being said, I do believe in the freedom of choice, and you should have the choice to be able to put yourself at risk if you want to, right? I mean, we take risks all the time. People who are smokers take risks understanding that they're going to get probably lung cancer and possibly die from that because of that choice that they're making by smoking cigarettes. It's just, that's one of the things that we are lucky to be living in America for, is freedom of choice. Where was I going with that? What was the second part of your question?
Well, no, I mean, okay, you have somebody that's immunocompromised, so you're obviously cognizant of it. You've been on sets where there's protocol and stuff like that. So ultimately, what leads you to make the decision that you are comfortable enough asking people to come work on this project and that you will be able to keep them safe?
Well, just by being completely transparent about everything that I'm doing in terms of preventative measures for keeping everybody safe on set, as well as making sure people understand that this is their choice to potentially risk their health and whoever they see throughout their day. Because as we know, it's a very volatile virus that we know very little about still, even though it's been almost a year. But still, there's a gestation period of 2 to 14 days that you don't know if you have it, and nobody will know if you have it, even if you get tested, unless like you've got that viral shedding component of it. So it's very weird. But like I said, it's just getting everybody on board, being transparent and truthful about the entire situation and context.
Did you have any actors that were going to be appearing on set in close proximity to each other? How did you deal with that? Did you have them quarantine individually? Did you have them sort of talk to each other so that they were comfortable, knowing, hey, tomorrow me and you're going to do a scene, we're going to be like side by side, etc.?
So a few of the actors are some of my peers, people I've worked with before, and they are also sensible about COVID and being safe about these things. So to be honest with you, before I could even talk to them on that first day on set, they all talked it out amongst themselves, and I didn't really have to do that on the first day of principal photography. But yeah, obviously I relayed the messages to everybody that we're going to be as safe as possible and we're going to be as pragmatic as possible when it comes to what you're talking about, blocking and keeping everybody apart. And then I wanted to keep a lot of the scenes outdoors as well, because obviously we know outdoor scenes, or just outdoors in general, is a little bit less of a risk to transmit this virus. But I was nodding my head because I thought you were going to ask a different question. I thought you were going to ask if I had actors or crew that ended up canceling because of COVID reasons. And I did. I had several cast members as well as crew members who were completely down with the cause and wanted to be on set. But for instance, one crew member had to take care of her elderly uncle who was coming to town for, I think, like 2 weeks or something like that, and was staying in her house. So she wanted to be mindful of that. So she was like, I have to skip out on this right now, but after he's gone, I want to come back to set. I had an actor who was sick, who was supposed to show up to set. He called me literally that morning and said he was sick and he couldn't. He was asking me my opinion on what I thought about it, and I said, if you're sick, just don't show up to set. Just stay home. I mean,
it's probably
obviously.
It's probably a good reason to get you on there. I want to do things. I want to give you a chance to see if we can clean up your sound a little bit. So I don't know if you have any alternate headphones or if you just want to go straight for your computer audio so we can bring that on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring on the rest of your crew and stuff, talk to them a little bit so they see if we can get you situated, get out. I want to ask them a little bit about what it was working on set, etc. And then once we get your sound cleared up, I want to make sure that you get a chance to just kind of make sure that you state whatever it is that is important to you, that people understand about what the production is going to be moving forward. Is that cool with you?
Sounds good.
All right, and I'm also going to play a couple of scenes of stuff that me and Jack have done together, as I normally do with the guests, so they can come on, so they can kind of understand what's going on, catch up on everybody that's commenting. We're talking to George, Jack. They're filming a series. Independent, are you calling it a web series? Right, web series called Last Chance. Right? Okay, we can't hear you anymore. Don't worry about it. It's Last Chance series. Go do your thing, Jack. Do your thing. And let me actually play a couple of clips of George and me working together. Let's get to this part. If you have any questions about George, if you've been on a COVID compliant set, tell us how it is in the comment section. Tell us if you'd be comfortable working on a set if you're an actor. And tell us what you think that the focus should be. A long time ago, me and George Jack worked together on a project called. Give me a second here. I'm going to pull it up and put it on my screen.
Hey, how's my sound now, by the way?
Oh, your sound is perfect now. No cracking. Okay. Is that better? Yeah. You're good. All right. So, like I said, me and Jack worked together on a project called Blacklisted about 6 years ago. We had the same Marty Fowler Rolls Royce in that movie as well. Just FYI. Thank you. Shout out Marty Fowler. We had the Rolls Royce. But here is a younger George Jack in a scene from the movie / season 1 plot line to Blacklisted, which is available as an intellectual property, Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, etc. Holla at your boy. And let's watch this scene from a young Jack.
A young Jack.
I don't think you were George Jack back then. You were Vuya then.
Yeah. Boss, it's Bobby.
Bobby. That's it.
Yeah, we here. What you need?
Shout out Oscar Velasquez making some shit shot like in 2015. Looked like it was shot in 2020.
Got this. I got 2 with me. We can handle him.
Yeah.
The rack focus and everything.
Yeah.
Pay-per-view? That dude?
I like that your character is aware that you're about to go beat up an MMA guy, and Bobby's still like, fuck it, I'm down.
Yeah.
Hey, yo, steroids, boy. This beach is a non-PDA zone. You guys are a real cute, modern TV commercial couple and all. But still, we're leaving. This place is dead anyways. I didn't know HGH made you funny.
What a line.
But yo, check this out. I find it funny that you think you can mess with our crew and run around like you own the town.
When I say duck, hit the ground.
I guess I gotta be the one to teach you some manners.
Duck.
Oh, shit.
To teach you some manners.
Duck.
Oh, that's brutal. Yeah, I thought that was just me. We can't hear you, Big Chief. Oh, you're on mute. That's why. That whole time.
Oh, sorry about that. What I was gonna do, is I was actually every time that you made a good point, I was gonna do a silly gif of me, and every time I made a good point, I was gonna show that part of you getting kicked in the face.
That's great. Damn.
But instead I went with the other one. All right, and then we had me and Mr. Jack he was in another project, and coincidentally Zoe stopping by. What's up, Zoe? How you doing? Thanks for joining the stream. And Jay said, way better on your sound. And Jace also says, yeah, Last Chance crew, let's go, boys and girls. All right. Jack was also in another film that we shot, coincidentally, here in San Diego at the iconic, what was that, the hotel? Oh, you know what I'm talking about, right?
On El Cajon Boulevard? Yeah.
The Lafayette. And he plays a kind of a murderous type dude. There we go. This is a quick scene from Fallback. Lisa Hoffman.
Where do I know you from? Hey, where do I know him from?
I don't know, babe. Where do you know him from?
Hey, man. I'm just trying to relax.
I get it. Trying to stay low, avoid the paparazzi.
Babe, he's from that TV show.
That's right. That TV show. You're one of those 30 billionaires under 30. Holy shit.
Hey, man, we're just trying to stay on the radar. Like, either just be cool or kick rocks, man.
Shout out Kenny.
Yeah, I'm just here to lay low and maybe do some partying.
Don't say party. Unless you made it.
Oh!
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. There's Jace as the bad guy. I mean, Jace is the bad guy. Jack is the bad guy.
I was like, Jace was in that movie? I don't remember that.
He wasn't in that. He wasn't on that. Well, those are two sets where we worked together. That was a long time ago, pre-COVID. I want to cap up on the. I want to catch up on the comments and then give you a chance since you're clear now. Jovi says, I've worked on a COVID compliant set. They tested everyone before the shoot. We all received new N95 masks at the door. Masks were worn until you were on camera only. This was the only time I was comfortable being on set during COVID. Also, Jack was often in fallback. Yeah, he was. He was very good in fallback. So obviously, you said you had people that canceled day of. Obviously, what else were you doing in terms of precaution? Were you taking people's temperature? Obviously,
Yes.
having rapid. What I said initially was that unless you were doing rapid day of test, which would have cost a normal independent filmmaker a fortune,
$150 is what I took. So I took the rapid test the day before shooting, and it's $150. Obviously, at this indie level, if we're not paying anybody, you think we have that money to be able to pay for that? No. But I did encourage everybody to take their own tests. But like I said, that gestation period of 2 to 14 days, it's so, I don't know, it's like up in the air whether or not you have it. You don't know if you do or not. So I bought those little thermometers from Target. It was like $50. It was nothing. And I took to use that same kind of protocol questionnaire thing that they did on Vet TV. So we did all of that, asked them if they'd been exposed to anybody within 14 days, if they've had any symptoms within 14 days. They signed their affidavits on set that each day that they showed up, they signed their affidavit, got their temperature checked before they could do anything. I had a big ass vat of hand sanitizer. I had masks if nobody had their own. And yeah, we had hand sanitizing wipes. We were sanitizing everything, especially things that people like touched multiple times.
all right, I see you with a mask here. I see a mask over here. I see a mask over here. But oh boy, here, I believe he's backstage with us here. No mask.
Maybe he was sneezing.
All right, again, mask, no mask. And I'm just giving you shit, but obviously what do you think the appropriate amount of like? All right, so here's the thing. If you have a group of people and they're within your circle and you trust them and you say, man, we want to do a COVID compliant set, but we don't have the money to do it. We are trusting everybody to take care of themselves. If you've been exposed, if you don't feel good, don't show up to set.
Mm-hmm.
But, like you see the NFL coaches on the sideline, they're wearing the mask, they're wearing the mask right here. And you're like, what's the point? If you're not going to commit to the full thing, then doing it once in a while, right? It's almost, do you feel that's a little half-assed, or once you've already established we feel comfortable with each other enough that we're comfortable with everybody that's been called on to set, do you feel that's enough?
No, I don't feel that that's enough. And I think that might be one of the underlying reasons why people do get complacent when it comes to mask wearing. But I also do believe that the mask wearing and social distancing, which is 6 feet apart, is based on science. So if you're 6 feet away from somebody and you're outdoors, then I guess if there's any time to be lenient about it, then that would be the case.
Okay. And, because I don't think anybody wants to be like the guy that's like, Tom Cruise, right? But, we had the discussion, you make the comics, we set this up, and all of a sudden we have like the number one celebrity on the planet, or the number one blockbuster movie guy in the planet over the last 30 years, come out with that rant where he's basically like getting on people for not being 6 feet apart, and he's basically yelling at everybody on set. Some people say he released it as a promotion for himself, like as a virtual signal. How did you feel once you heard that rant?
Dude, I love Tom Cruise, number one. He's pretty much the guy who got me into the film industry and acting because of Top Gun back in the day. That was like my favorite film. But because of that, I respect him so much fucking more. Like it was awesome. I had a conversation with Bulam, who you're going to bring on later, earlier today, literally about this same topic. And I was telling him, like, you could be offended for the way that he went about it, but the reason why he went about it that way was because of the passion that he had for the film industry and for people's livelihoods that depend on his production and productions in Hollywood staying open. And in order to do that, you have to stick to those rigid protocols. So I have no qualms with anything that he said or did, or even the way that he did it, because like Bulam said earlier today, you don't know the context. You don't know how many times they broke that protocol beforehand. And then also I heard that what you just said, it could be a PR stunt too. And I thought it's ingenious if that's really what happened.
Okay. And I hope you understand that this is all coming from, obviously I'm trying to do a podcast and a stream that appeals to multiple different people. And I want to talk about a lot of stuff, but obviously my background and what I'm most comfortable and informed about is filmmaking, and I know a lot of you guys personally. We've worked on stuff together, and I want nothing more than your series to succeed. But considering the time frame that we're in 2020, my personal situation and the facts about what's going on in the world right now, I kind of I felt it would be disingenuous for me to be like 100% just like rah without at least questioning you and questioning, motives, protocols, etc., while at the same time giving you a chance to come on and kind of, like you said, defend yourself.
Yeah, and I get that totally. And you have every right to question whether or not somebody who's breaking the rules, which is kind of what we're doing, are they doing it for the right reasons, altruistically, and do they have everybody's best interest in mind, or are they being selfish? Yeah, so you definitely have the right to question that. But that little dichotomy that you talked about earlier about how you don't think we should have shut everything down, and then you also said you might be a little bit jealous because of your situation. Think about that a little bit. I mean, maybe that's the reason why you're kind of getting on people's cases about it. Because you can't do anything.
Well, no, I saw what I literally consider the least professional filmmakers in San Diego in a circle, which was less than like 4 feet apart, and they were all cheering each other on. And I've also heard about sets where people are so gun ho about the politicizing of the mask wearing that they were not allowing people to even wear a mask on set for any reason.
I'll stop you right there, bro. I would not stand for that kind of shit on my set. Whatever your political reasons or whatever your side is, whatever you believe, at least have consideration for your fellow human beings. And by being overt about shit like that, that doesn't stand with me. That wouldn't fly. And everybody on my set has the same mindset too.
Yeah, and like I said, the reason I'm saying, I'm trying to admit to what my possible bias could be. But I also don't think that I'm jealous because I've been on 50 film sets, so I don't think that I just think I'm jealous that people are out there filming stuff that I wish I could do that I have made a personal decision not to do and how to handle it. And like I said, I feel that when things are done properly, and I've talked to people like, for example, Shelley Rowe. They filmed a music video that's won a ton of awards, and they had but they had a budget. And they had a certain amount of people that they could have depending on the square footage of the location they were shooting. They had PPE, and it raised their budget by 15 to 20%, and they were able to accommodate a lot of rules and a lot of stuff by being able to do that. So, so that was my biggest difference, which was, in terms of the people that I've seen making films during this time, you guys are by far the most compliant in that you're at least thinking about it. I think some people are just not thinking about it at all, and they're just like, fuck it, I'm going to make a movie. And when I initially saw that, I was like, literally, like, your shitty web series can wait. Nobody's going to fucking die because they have to wait till March instead of till January. And when I said that, I was talking about a different project, not yours. But like I said, it would be stupid of me to be like, oh, and then have you guys on it and not at least mention it. So I appreciate you at least being, manning up and saying, fuck it, I'm going to defend myself. I'll tell you exactly what I was doing at Lou, and I believe you have. Any last words on the subject before we move on?
Nah, man. I think we had a pretty healthy debate there.
All right, and then we're catching up on comments. We have Hector saying it was huge sanitizer. All right, thank you for stopping by the stream, Hector. And Jovi says a valid discussion for sure. I appreciate your contribution. I appreciate everybody that's checked in. As a reminder, we're talking with Mr. George Jack with You Don't Know Jack. You can also follow the @Last Chance series on Instagram. Let's play the trailer, George.
Sounds good.
Eddie, why you look so scared?
News has
Uh-oh. Sorry. I was about to do my live review of the trailer, but I'm not going to do that.
What were you going to say uh-oh about the...
I filmed at that house, that's all.
Oh.
I would have put that shot fast.
Put what? What?
Uh-oh, hold on. I'll tell you afterwards.
I'll explain it.
Oh! I know. I said I would have put this shot, the San Diego shot. I think it would have been right before the mansion. Go from San Diego to there, because right here it's sort of like it's like a pause in the trailer for some reason. It's really well cut. I like how it's pasted the music. At first, when I first watched it, I was like, why are you showing me like a split second of Mark Atkinson right here? Because it was such a short little bit of him. It was like a quarter frame almost. That's a great screenshot though right there of Mark. That's an excellent shot. I did it.
That shot of Mark was shot on the fucking iPhone.
So you did mix some iPhone footage with some cinema camera stuff on
Yeah. So that first episode, the entire first episode that I shot in 2019 was shot on the iPhone 11. That shot.
guess the music you did cut. You cut to the music a lot.
Yeah,
Did you cut this yourself? Did you cut this yourself?
Yep.
Everywhere.
I had a ton of feedback. Like that's another thing about this entire project, man. Like I keep telling you, like this is the reason why I'm doing it. This is not for like notoriety or like getting our names out there and like being on YouTube and all that shit. Like we just want to create, man. We want to create. We want to grow as filmmakers, crew, cast, whatever you are, and we're doing this as a team, man. We're all on the same page. So I could not be more proud or happy with the team that I've assembled.
All right, Mark Atkinson checking in. Yeah, great screenshot. Thank you, Mark Atkinson. Nice profile picture there in your little trailer with your little Denny's outfit. I like that. No, man. Like I said, I think you've defended yourself well. I understand the protocol. You know, I think every actor. I think as long as you put it out there for actors and you give them and you give crew the option. As long as you're forthright with them and you say these are the things that we're going to do, these are the things that we're not going to do, you got to basically make these are people. Everybody is supposed to like be on honor system, sort of segregate yourself, quarantine yourself, better word, put yourself away, get ready for be on set. If you're going to be acting with somebody, here's the personal, you two, you're two actors. I can't imagine directing like a love scene right now with two different actors that didn't know each other or weren't a couple at this point. I feel that would be incredibly hard to schedule. So as long as you're putting it out there, the protocols that you're doing, you're giving people best practices, you're following it on set, you have somebody there that can be at least the mom on set and sort of get on people when they're starting to lag.
Yeah. That was Isaac, the guy who said that was a huge bottle of hand sanitizer. He's one of my associate producers, and he was the first AD, and he was on top of that shit like the whole time. And another thing is like something that people don't do down here for indie film sets is clearance packages. They don't have these agreements with people, so you don't really understand what you're getting yourself into. So I had that. I had the affidavits for the COVID protocols. Like I'm doing this like by the book as much as you can as an indie filmmaker. So, I mean, I'm proud of everybody that came together and put this together during COVID, and it looks good. So I'm happy, man. I just hope everybody grows from this experience.
All right. Well, you've said it all when it comes to that. Let's talk a little bit about the series. I want to bring everybody else on. We're talking live with George Jack from Last Chance Series. Thank you, everybody that's commented and collaborated so far. What did everybody in the chat think about the trailer? Let us know in the comment section. Let George know what you want. You want to come on set? Holler at your boy over here. He's how far are you? How far are you in the filming? And what draft of your scripts did you shoot?
We are into 3, 4, 5. So we're through 5 days of principal, and then we've got 2.5 days left.
And what draft did you shoot?
Maybe like 2, maybe 3.
You did it. Okay. You're shooting.
Yeah, I pump these out quick, bro.
I know. Okay. All right. I'm not going to say anything about it until I see the finished product on that side.
Yeah.
But I always recommend people shoot the 5th, 6th, 7th draft, unless it's like a deadline sort of thing. And in Blacklisted, I wrote scene by scene after we scheduled each shoot. So we would schedule the shoot. This is what's happening. This is what's happening. And then I would write the script for that scene the week before. So I'm not one to talk about pumping out a script, but like I said,
another interesting topic about writing these scripts is I was kind of also writing them based on the resources and actors that I had. So people who were on board, I would ask people who were on board first, and if they were on board, then I would think of the role that would fit them and fit into the story. And then I would think of the locations that I had available to shoot at. Like everything was fluid for this, bro. Like one of the main actresses in this now was supposed to be another actress, but she had to like skip out of town for a couple months. So we were trying to get her on set for a couple days in the beginning. And if she was going to be on set, I was going to kill her character off, but it ended up not working out. So I have another great actress that I got in there, and she's still in it. I didn't kill her off because she's still in town. So like it was completely fluid the way that I wrote the script. And I don't know. I thought it was pretty cool the way I did that.
I've been there, brother. So I was like, George Jack is available. All right, let's make him an Asian gangster named Bobby. That was it. That's how you do it. All right, we're gonna bring on the cast in a second. We're live with George Jack Last Chance Series here on Fireside Chats. All right, we're going to bring on the cast of Last Chance Series here. I'm going to bring them on one by one, and we'll bring them all on and then kind of get an idea of who they were and if we saw them in the trailer. All right, we got Mr. Brian, the Action Jackson. Thanks for coming on the show today, sir.
What's going on? Happy to be here.
And what was your role in the production of Last Chance Series, man?
If you saw it, definitely had the iconic lifting of the police tape moment. I'm the FBI tactical team leader. So.
Got it. All right. And are you an actor by trade, or are you just something that you decided to jump in for this, or what's your background?
Definitely an actor by trade, also a filmmaker since I was a kid. And I partnered with George earlier this year, actually shot my own quarantine film, which we actually did remotely because it was way early in the onset and people were not anywhere near the level of comfortability of actually getting on set. So we shot it all remotely from our own places.
Was that the one with Jace, the one that's on Amazon? Is that the one we're talking about?
Correct. Yep.
I watched that.
Yeah.
I watched that. For what it was, at first, I talked to Jace about it on the podcast, which was at first I was watching it and I was kind of hating a little bit because I was like, But then when I started to think about what it was and how it was shot and how you guys were all remote and had to shoot yourself, I was like, stop being such a hater, Lou. This is actually that bad. So I appreciated it once I watched it and I gave it its proper context. So good job on that one, by the way.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. We're also gonna... Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
All right. We want to bring on the rest of the cast here. We also have Mr. Bolam,
yeah. How you doing, man?
How you doing, man? Now you're the guy without the mask with the camera, right? But you're also in. So you're doing.
No, that's not.
That was De Leon. Okay, got it. So what's your role?
I was an actor in it, so my role was the head of security, burly man for the one of the main guys in there, the mayor, pretty much.
All right, cool. And are you also an actor by trade, usually?
I am. I actually am actor and producer. So yeah.
Nice. All right,
He's helping produce too. So.
All right, excellent. And then we're bringing Mr. De Leon.
How's it going? Yo.
¿Qué onda, mano?
You hear me good?
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
Got the guy.
Yeah. So just real quick, just want to say I wear a mask like this. It goes around my neck. And so if I had it down a little bit, maybe it fell, but I always had this on me at all times just to be safe a little bit,
Well, also, I noticed the shots that you were showing me. The reason why those people had their masks down at that time was because our sound was shit and we couldn't even hear the slate. So they had to take their masks off to say scene, roll, take, all that.
All right. We're past the COVID stage. I did my rant at the beginning. I've said enough. You guys understand how I feel about it, and you guys and like I said, I'm 100% okay with you guys making the discussion. But since this is something that's geared to independent filmmakers that are locally, I feel it's at least important to have that conversation and to listen to both sides, right?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Dan, for you guys, for the three of you guys, was there a time when from the time George talks to you about the role or your part in the project to the day on set to the day that you start shooting, that your first day that you have to be reporting on set, what is your thought process? Are you 100% in the entire time? Does a newscast come on, or you see some numbers and you see a spike and you see different purple tiers and orange tiers and all this happening? Does your level of being in go up and down? How do you change, or how does that fluctuate for you guys during that time frame? Whoever wants to go first.
I have to say, I wasn't as worried about it as other people. Like, I got tested through my day job. I got tested on other sets, so I was constantly doing that. And I was in a similar situation. I was taking care of an elderly parent who was, definitely an at-risk person. But once I started seeing him hang out with his soccer buddies and kind of go out on the town a little bit, I was like, okay, well, I can loosen up a little bit. But we all just kind of had the mentality we're all going to really work hard together and we're going to try to stay as safe as possible. And I definitely saw the entire crew pretty much the entire time. we're all rocking masks. If there was any fault, it was, the actors that were in their scene, but that's what we have to do. We have to take the mask off to do the shot. So it was a very professional crew. I wasn't worried about it.
How about you guys?
Well, I mean, I'm pretty happy to say I think no one in the crew or the cast came out, many positive after that or before that. I took a test on my job that same Monday that week, came out negative, and most of the shoots, we're shooting outside too, so that's another reason why I kind of feel safe. But I do have my parents. My dad's 70. So I tried to, I did kind of feel a little bit nervous about going out, and I didn't want to bring that home. But, just try to use the sanitizer and the mask, and try to stay away from people, not to, don't want to be too close to everybody. And I will try to do things myself too, like, just trying to set up lights or whatever I got to move. I will just, if I can do it myself, I will just do it instead of trying to, have 2-3 PAs moving that for me, because I don't want people to be too much around each other, So
who was running camera for you guys?
So Renee.
Okay. So did you guys have different protocols for cast and for crew?
So cast was pretty much, you had to have masks on up until last looks, and then crew the whole time. I mean, unless you were eating or drinking. Or away from somebody outdoors.
And how'd you guys handle crafty? Like just individually wrap stuff, or everybody got their own plate, or how was that for you?
Yeah. This first day of shooting, I got Red Lobster. I told everybody I was getting Red Lobster. Everybody thought I was getting lobster. They ended up being chicken fingers. But either way, they came in like individual boxes. So that was the first day. Second day, I got Rubio's, and I thought it was supposed to be in individual boxes, but it ended up not being so. But our AD, Isaac, he made sure that everybody was being sanitary with the way that they were consuming their food and taking it off the plates and stuff like that.
What about you, Walem? Did you have a pleasant experience during crafting?
It was actually pretty good. Regarding your prior question about COVID, because I was in Arizona prior to coming out here, I was working on a different project. So I did get tested right before here, and George actually did a good job where he sent out a message to all of us prior to showing up to set to make sure we can have our masks, the social distance, pretty much just a safety meeting over an email, which was over Instagram, I believe. So that was pretty good at his part. When it comes down to crafty, it was good overall. I mean, I'm not going to... It's COVID, it's pandemic, everybody is losing it. And to me, that was actually really good, because you got to keep in mind that us actors, this is our passion. This is what we love to do. And being on set actually was, to me, even though it is COVID, it was a lot healthier, because mentally it puts you in the right mindset. Yeah. And that, to me, that's priceless. I mean, I take care of my father and my mother. They're older, so I'm always going to be cautious. Being on set, I was pretty cautious, so was everybody else. Let's not forget that we need to be out on sets. As long as we're doing it safely, it's therapeutical to a certain extent. It helps us stay focused and keep going in our lives.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that reminds me, something that I wanted to point out in that first segment that we had about COVID.
Sure.
You said something that really struck me. You said you're not going to die by not being on set. And honestly, I'm not the fucking type who always like complains about anxiety or depression, shit like that. In the beginning of this shit, when I lost all my acting work, I was seriously fucking depressed, bro. And I thought I was going to die. I mean, I was looking for like different ways out to find a different fucking career, because I thought it was over for me. And like just getting back on set and flexing that creative muscle, like I keep saying, was just like Bolem said, it's therapeutic. And I needed that for my mental health. And I wanted to find people who were in the same boat and needed to do the same thing for themselves as well.
Well, I think Go ahead.
That's something that I want to touch on in one of my next films is mental health, is because it's an aspect that is so far overlooked in the public eye. I know it's been stigmatized. I talked to my doctor about it when I went to get tested last week, and he was telling me that it didn't become regular practice for insurance to insure mental health issues until 10 years ago. Like, that shit's crazy, bro. Like, I can't believe that. Like, it's just as important for your mental health as it is physical health. And the fact that we don't do anything to take care of that as a general population, something needs to change with that.
Yeah, normalize asking for help, normalize therapy, normalize people leaning on each other. Obviously, there's we see all these posts saying there's always somebody there to help. I have myself lost friends to suicide and stuff like that, so it's a real thing. But I do believe there's few things in life better than day one, shot one, when you're in charge of the project. So making that transition from actor to producer to writer director, because the first time I really felt like a real director, like a real director, was when the credits were rolling at the beginning of one of my movies and it said written and directed by Luis Martinez. That's what I was working for my entire life as a filmmaker. I wanted to get to that point, to see written and directed by on the screen. I chubbed up a little bit, but how was that transition for you from actor to the director's chair? And did you borrow or did you sort of pick up stuff along the way from people that you've worked with?
The transition was, I don't know if I would say easy, but I've been on enough sets to know what is going on, the mechanics of everything that's going on. So it's something that I didn't feel uncomfortable with in terms of leading a set. What I did feel uncomfortable with was people's perceptions of me being an actor turned writer, director, and if they would want to work on his first project and shit like that. So
what I really want to do is direct. That's the whole cliche, right?
But it's not really because of that. Like, for me, with this project, like, I keep going back to it. It's not because I wanted to direct and like be the lead of the project. It's because I just wanted to put a project out there, give back to San Diego in a way that was never given to me. Like, I wanted to give an experience that I never experienced in San Diego, because I've been on plenty of sets in San Diego. Yours being one of the very few, Lou, on that Blacklisted, that was like something where I felt like, oh, this is like a fucking Hollywood production, bro. Like, there's a ton of cast, there's a ton of crew, like everybody knows what they're doing, and that's awesome. And I wanted to foster an experience for everybody to where everybody felt like they had a hand in collaborating on the project and giving creative input, which is something that, like, people don't do. Like, they separate the above the line and below the line, and like, you got to stay in your corner, and I don't like that shit. Like, that's
we did make 136 people SAG eligible. Just kidding. No, we did actually on that project.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. No, I didn't want to necessarily, but you have to absorb things from different sets, even if it is, I don't want to do that. Because I was on sets when I was starting off where they were giving, where they were like, everybody gets $5 from 7-Eleven. What do you want? And everybody was like, what? We get to, I guess, a hot dog and a bag of Cheetos and a Slurpee, right? Or where it was like, just people being completely unprofessional, people not knowing what the fuck to do, people not understanding the hierarchy of a film set and how to make things efficient, people wasting time, stuff like that. So even if it's from a perspective of seeing what you saw and saying, I don't want my set to be like that, I'm sure that you learned a lot of things along the way.
Oh, yeah. I mean, going back to the fact that I didn't pay anybody to be on set, I wanted to provide more value than that. So
absolutely,
when it comes to craft services, pretty much the entire budget that I had for this was spent on craft services. I made sure that people were fed well, and I had multiple people come up to me and say how much they appreciated that, because I know I would appreciate that when I was an actor. We had something more than like $5 large pizza,
Yeah. No. One of the things that if you're not paying people, this is my tip: feed them well. Also, my company is called 2 a.m. Burritos. So if we're filming and I don't offer people burritos, people think it's weird. So we always have like the carne asada fries or something on set at least. So yeah, absolutely. Let's catch up on some comments. Mark Atkinson says he is the king of yes, you are, Mr. Atkinson. He says his shot was shot in February behind COVID. We do know that. Jason Vendetti said, minus us vegans. I guess you didn't have Cheddar Bay biscuits that were for vegans. You can eat Cheddar Bay biscuits from Red Lobster, Jace. Stop fucking whining. Somebody pissing your creatine.
He got his own bowl.
He got his own like delivered.
Yeah.
And then Mark Atkinson says, "Wait, there was food on set. Apparently, yeah, yeah." Margarita, thanks for stopping by the stream, Marguerite. She says, "Normalize asking for help. I love that. Yes, absolutely." Hector says Roman Valenzuela. Okay, I'm assuming that means something to you guys. And he says Cheetos. Yeah, that's a good set. I agree, but not flaming hot Cheetos. Not flaming hot. Now, for you guys, the actors, Brian, De Leon, Bolem, did you guys notice that George was showing any first-time director sort of shakes? Did you see him sort of, second guess himself, defer to people, stuff like that? Or did you guys in general think that he did a pretty good job heading the set?
Man.
Can I chime in on a little bit of what you were saying earlier? Like, one of the things that really set aside the first day that I was filming, we were actually shooting in an actual soundstage where they had actually constructed a set. And I almost cried on the inside because I've been on a lot of garbage productions over the years, and even stuff up in LA, where you're up there and people don't have their shit together. And the fact that I could walk in, I could actually see that they constructed a real set. You had crew walking around, setting up the lights. It actually just felt like you were back in the Hollywood biz again. And it was something that was very rewarding to see them actually put the time and energy, considering I just come off of doing a movie that I had to shoot in my own house with as much production value as I could cram into a little tiny frame behind me, So it was definitely something beautiful to see. And I really appreciated him for doing it. And I think the actor, director, people get a lot of bad rap. And I do say that with a bias because myself being that. But I think if you've actually stepped in the shoes as an actor, a lot of times you can actually pull the performance that you want from the actors when you take over that director's hat, because you've been there. There's nothing worse than the producer director that's never done anything creative in his life that comes from that business mindset, and they just have no idea how to talk to actors. And the same thing, there's a lot of cinematographers that want to be Spielberg, but if they don't have the capability of actually coaching actors on set, you may as well just be a DP. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
De Leon, Boulem, you guys wanted to chime in?
Dylan, did you have something to say? It looked like you were going to say something earlier.
No, I was going to say, man, the way that you were asking how was George on set, man, he's a natural dictator, man. He's just, he's from everybody, dude. Like, he makes sure everybody's, no one's fucking off, he makes sure, so definitely, he got the whip on us. No, he's great. He's great. He got us the food. He was always smiling. So how you were saying, did you notice any instances of noticing he's the first time directing? Well, he was smiling a lot, especially after the shots. I could see that he was really enjoying this. So going back to talking about how we had to, seclude ourselves from doing this film or any entertainment stuff, shows or anything that people were doing, and now we're able to do it again. It was good to see him smile because I was smiling too, man. It was good to get back on set.
Nah, he did an amazing job. Yeah, I mean, seeing him on set for the first time, was smiling, pretty happy. What I really liked about him, I was talking to him earlier actually today on the phone about leadership, things like that. And one of the things I really appreciate is that, I mean, being a good leader on set, on just in general, is being able to lead and follow. And with him, he was able to actually come up to you as an actor and actually talk to you. He's like, hey, how do you feel about this? Do you want to say it a certain way? Do you want to, he was more than willing to help you get it done the way you should be getting it done as an actor. And not only that, all the way in general, after we shot it, a couple of things that I emailed him and I was telling him about, and he was listening, took in the feedback, back and forth. I really appreciated working with him. I mean, it was amazing, to say the least.
Nice. So I guess the takeaway from this is stay in your lane, George Jack. Stick to the acting, buddy. I don't need another major San Diego director taken away from my. I'm just kidding. No, I feel like it's directing actors without saying here, do it like this, and that that's obviously something that's kind of sometimes directors will make a mistake of, in terms of just kind of working with the actors, and I think that if it's easy to second guess yourself. It's easy to take too many people's opinion, especially if you're a first time director, because you're obviously, you kind of, it's natural to second guess yourself, the shots. But and stepping into those shoes, because basically all you have to do is call yourself a director to be able to be on set. But where you're actually on there and you're in charge of everything, indie filmmaking at this level is about problem solving, which means dealing with who didn't show up that day, adjusting the script so it works. And like you said, something that you said earlier, which is something that we did in all our early films, is writing to your strengths, writing to the locations that you have control over, which is why a lot of indie films start off with somebody waking up in the morning because people have access to their own bedroom. And, people get shit on for that. It's like, oh, your movie starts off with somebody waking up. But that's normal for indie filmmakers because one of the only places you have access to shoot is your living room, is your bathroom, is your room, So I applaud you for taking that leap because I've been there and I've done that and I've done a dozen short films and 2 features. So I understand that taking that first leap to saying, I'm the director and setting that, say, it takes some ego, it takes a lot of balls. And it takes something, man. So I don't want you to think that anything of what I'm saying is meant to disregard that because I think it's I have it on my notes. It's an incredible accomplishment. FYI.
Thank you.
Just putting that on wax. We put shit on wax around here, man.
We lay the hammer down.
Lay the hammer down. All right. So what about you guys? What is it that you love the most about acting? What is it that brought it, that made it that you wanted to follow it? And were you? And this is something I ask other actors. I've asked George this before. Is it something that you always knew you wanted to do, or something that you gravitated to later on in your life? Let's start with De Leon.
Shit, man. I went to college and I was trying to figure out. I wanted to do something creatively. I always making all kinds of stuff, and I always like movies. So once I got my hands on an editing program and I started editing, that's all I like to do from there on. Since my early 21, 22, I'm 30 now. So yeah, I've been doing that for a while, man.
And you've always loved it. Who was your biggest influence or acting mentor growing up?
I mean, sounds cliche, but I love Scarface was one of the movies that I every single scene, just the way it's connected, the way it's structured, and I make music too. So for me, making movies, it's also structure wise. I'm always thinking how are we gonna get from point A to C, D, and the rest, and also just layering everything and the twist plots and stuff like that, the keeping the attention of the viewer the whole time, not confusing them, trying to always being able to show them your vision. That's for me the most important thing is if you have the vision as a director and once you actually make that vision reality, and that's the biggest accomplishment right there.
When you make your own music, do you make your own videos for it as well? Or
Yeah.
Is that not, you haven't yet?
Yeah, and I do it for other several artists as well.
Nice.
I let him plug his right now because we're about to shoot his music video on Sunday. Part of his music video on Sunday. He's shooting he wrote and he's directing a music video for himself and another artist, but it's kind of like a short film novella as well, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh, and then the thing about us is it's almost like we just came together as a team, like Voltron, dude, and we're rocking it. We don't have any egos. We put that shit to the side. We're helping each other. We give each other feedback. We help each other write. We do everything together. We all play our lanes, and we know and we respect each other's lanes. But at the time of actually, all right, we gotta put this shit out. We all come together and give each other feedback so that way we get the best product out.
Love me some Voltron, absolutely. And so make sure that you drop where people can follow you that in the private chat so we can put a banner up so people can follow your video.
All right.
Well, then, what about you, man?
Yeah, acting has always been my passion since I was a kid. I mean, to me, it wasn't until later in my life when I actually kind of pursued it. My father's a politician, my mom's an attorney, so it's kind of hard to actually tell them, hey, I'm not going to go to college. I'm gonna move to Hollywood and become an actor. So that didn't work out right away, obviously. But it's been sold out. Actually, it's an interesting story, which I'll tell you about it later. But yeah, made a huge life change and decided to pursue my dream, what I really like. What I love about acting is that I love to travel. Like travel, I'm a big believer that there's like only one race, which is the human race. We're all somewhat connected. And acting actually kind of proves that to me, because it doesn't matter what character I'm going through, doesn't matter what role I'm playing, there's always a way to connect with that role. There's always something that deep inside. Doesn't matter if it's a gangster, a mobster, a doctor, a rape, whatever the role is, you're able to find a way to connect with it, which is what I use in real life whenever I'm traveling, to connect with other people, because we're all the same by the end of the day. That's what I love about acting, is to learn about other people, to learn about other personalities.
Brian, I want to ask you the same question, but Wallen brought up an interesting point that we talk about often on the stream, which is acting as a career, acting as an art, being attacked by the proliferation. And I'm going to get to everybody's comments. I have to catch up to a couple as well.
Mhm.
Acting being attacked by the proliferation of like woke culture, in as much as, you know, from a director perspective, if you write a character that's gay, transgender, a certain ethnicity, a certain socioeconomic status, it's almost as if we're getting to the point where you have to cast that character that you wrote with somebody that fits that demographic exactly, or else you're gonna get shit on from, like, you know, internet culture, right? The reason that this is happening, obviously, is it because 50 years ago, you know, black people couldn't play black people on screen, and Mexican people couldn't play Mexican people on screen, and acting as it started was something where white people could pretend to be somebody else. I mean, that's the genesis of Shakespearean actors, right? White males playing women, white males playing every other thing, and that's where the art started. So in essence, you know, obviously it's easy to say, well, the progression of it is that we need more roles for people, we need people more opportunities. But part of what makes acting awesome, like Walem said, is the fact that you can become somebody else. Tom Hanks wasn't mentally, you know, slow when he played Forrest Gump. He wasn't gay when he was in Philadelphia. You know, in My Left Foot, oh boy, didn't have a fucking disability. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of a thin line as you guys pursue this career. How does that affect you? Does that make acting any less attractive? The fact that you might get to the point where you're only, like, if I'm only allowed to play, you know, to play chubby, sexy Colombians, then, you know, then I can't apply for any other roles, right? But does that do anything for you guys in terms of being an actor, in terms of how you feel about the career? Do you think that's still the ability to convert yourself into somebody else is still there? I'll start with Brian.
Yeah, I mean, I think absolutely. I mean, obviously, it's a hard line to try to walk now to try to figure out what's acceptable and not. Like, I was just joking, we were on set the other day. I was rewatching some of the Bond movies because they're on Amazon, and you forget, you watch Dr. No, and you're like, man, there's a lot of yellow faces. There's a lot of, you know, white guys playing Asian characters, a lot of white guys playing African American. It's just not what you want to see in today's day and age. And obviously, at the time back then, they thought it was okay, but we all have our qualms with it now. As far as like the jumping around, I truly think that if you're an actor, like, I think a straight guy can play a gay guy, no problem. A gay guy can play a straight guy, that doesn't matter. You know, I do really think that the era that we're in, I love the idea of more people getting representation. And I think for a long time that traditionally the leading role usually was always going to like a white guy. And I'm loving seeing a lot more people taking chances and kind of moving away from that, because we do have a lot of problems in this culture. You know, there's still a lot of people that won't cast like an Asian guy as a sexy lead, you know, because there's just a lot of people that, you know, oh, I don't find that attractive. I don't, you know, whatever their bias is for it, but it's nonsense. And you're starting to see that kind of get punched through. And personally, you know, I'm just open to whatever can come from the industry as it expands, and it doesn't really bother me. But it is funny because there's a lot of comedians, even Jamie Foxx went on, was it Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee? And he was talking to Seinfeld about that. He's like, he had the reverse kind of mindset. He's like, man, I actually feel really bad for like the Channing Tatums of the world, because like there's 100,000 guys trying to do that type of thing. He's like, there's 5 of me, you know. So he had a really good point about that. So yeah, I think you just have to figure out the perspective, and it's all about telling the story and the motivation. And this is something that a lot of us local filmmakers talk about is we do need to get to the point where we are more concerned with telling a good story and putting all of the social issues in that, because A lot of times people are just seeing what they consider to be a woke movie. And a lot of times it's just people putting suffering on camera for the sake of suffering. They're not necessarily telling a whole story from start to finish that actually encapsulates the audience. So you want to make sure you're actually telling a story and you're entertaining people, because that's really why audiences went to theater in the first place, is you could go escape for 2 hours. And why it's devastating to see what's happening in movie theaters now, with people just, I'm just going to watch it at home. And it's like, man, no, the whole idea is get out of your house, get away from your cell phone, go escape, leave your own world for a little while, learn what it was like in these other eras, you know? So I don't know if that answers your question or not. But.
No, that's fine. It's a great take on it. Bolem or De Leon?
Yeah, I mean, sadly, I'm going to put in the producer's hat at this point, pretty much. So you're 100% right about having pretty wide open, having different people play different roles. But at the same time, by the end of the day, the way I look at it, I'm actually working on a TV series right now myself. And the role is a perfect fit for me because it is about partially my life. But at the same time, I know I would not be playing that role except if I have the right supporting roles, just because I want the story to be told. And having me in there versus having somebody who's an A-list is a big difference of getting that exposure. So the story is out there so people can actually hear what the story is about, and for it to be marketable, to actually make the money to make it and bring in the money to make it. So that's what it comes down to. It's like, yeah, that is true. Hollywood does need a lot of diversity in the sense of way, but at the same time, it comes down to the cost of, if you have a shot to get a movie down to, let's say, Bradley Cooper or Tom Cruise in it, or pick up somebody else who's from a foreign country who's not even famous, which one are you going to go with as a producer? And that's what it comes down to. It's like, I want the story to be told the right way, obviously with the right character, but if I can twist it a little bit around and get somebody who's famous to get the exposure, to get me to the Chinese market, to get me to the European market, so people actually watch it, we'll take that risk just because, for the sake of getting the story out there so people can hear what the story's all about. If that makes sense at all.
Yeah, absolutely. There's the business of filmmaking, and then there's the art of filmmaking.
You go.
And unfortunately, in our industry, they're intertwined, where you have the auteur, the director, the writer, the person that's putting it together, and the studio who wants to make money off of the director, the auteur. From a producer, from a director, the way I'm sort of handling it, and George, you can tell me whether you agree with this, is that if I write something and I write in a part for somebody in the script that is different gender, underrepresented race, creed, etc., that I should at least be open with myself. I mean, at the end of the day, it's my movie, right? It's my art. My name is going on it. I get to make the movie that I want because it is my art. But to feel clean about it, I like to open myself up to at least letting people that fit that narrative and fit that part audition for it. So that even if I have people in mind that I think would want to play it, I have to at least be open to being wrong or have that conversation. I always say, to thine own self be true, right?
Yeah.
So as long as I feel that I'm opening doors and letting those people come in and say, this is a movie, this is a role. I'm not promising you the role just because you are transgender, female, gay, lesbian, whatever. But I want to see somebody audition who's more connected to that role, to open up my eyes, or at least give myself some options. Do you agree with that?
I do, to some extent, but I also feel like as filmmakers, it's our responsibility to inspire change. I mean, the reason why I think most of us become filmmakers is because we were inspired at one point to become a filmmaker. So what we're seeing right now is these stereotypes. I know that I've gone to a ton of acting teachers, and all of the acting teachers pretty much echo the same thing. You're going to get cast not for your talent, but if you look like that role, right? So it's our responsibility to change that stereotype. And if somebody is not that great of an actor, but you're going to represent a underrepresented portion of the country, then I think that you should take that risk as a producer or director and do that. Whether it sinks your project or not, at least you've got this altruistic view of wanting to inspire change, which should be changed. I mean, we're talking about it right now because we all agree that it's something that needs to be talked about and needs to be changed 100%. So it's our responsibility as the director and producer to do that.
So you're gonna, you're going. So if you have a decision to make between two actors, one of them more bankable than the other, you feel that you would be able to make the hard choice to say, I'm going to go with this actor against what I might initially be thinking to take that stand?
I would hope so. That's where my mindset is. Obviously, I'm not in that position right now where there's like tons of money to be able to sway my.
It's a good problem to have.
Yeah, but I would hope that I do stick to my morals.
All right, so we are talking live with George Jac, the creator, writer, director of Last Chance series. We watched the trailer. You can follow them at Last Chance series. We're also talking with Brian the Action Jackson. You can watch his movie. What's it called?
State.
Huh? Failed State.
Yep.
Failed State on Amazon Prime for free. They shot it individually in multiple locations, and it's on Amazon, so you can watch it now. And then we have Mr. De Leon on. I'm going to show you guys his channel over here. Oh, hey, for everybody watching, this is how easy it is to subscribe to somebody on YouTube. You go over here and you hit subscribe.
There you go.
If everybody
and it says subscription added. Oh man! And then you can go to my channel, youtube.com/2am burrito, and you can also hit the subscribe button. You can see all our old movies, videos. Look at that. Look at this right here. You can see all the old interviews. You might be interested in this one. I did an interview with guys who did this thing called Bacoso, Cube Afrobeats de Cuba, that were part of the San Diego Latino Film Festival. We've talked to Aaron David Roberts from Rising Tides. We talked to Mr. Jason Garcia. He's a cosplayer, sustainable living, all that stuff. We're at around 300 subscribers on 2AM Burrito. We'd like to get to 1,000. We're talking to the cast of Last Chance series. Just give myself a little self-plug, love. You know how it is. Let's catch up on some comments. CG dropping by saying, I love George even though he left me on an island by myself, never to be heard from again.
You left us on an island, bro. What?
I don't know. That seems like an inside joke between you guys. I don't know what that's happening there. All right, let's catch up. Marguerite saying, let's see what she's saying. Brian, that is a beautiful experience. Oh my God, an organized set and being treated well. That's pretty rare and special experience. That's incentive for me to stay on top of my game as much as possible in case I need to compensate for slip shots, sitches. All right. And she also says, Luis, how do you find the balance as a director to have your vision yet invite the actor to express a choice that you might not have thought of? It's really easy when you start off as a director to say, do it like this, deliver the line like this. And that is a shortcut that you shouldn't take as a director.
I hate it.
My technique, because you guys got to remember, I was a trainer, a coach. I ran a call center for 10 years before I started being a director. And I didn't realize I was learning how to be a director while I was working my side job. And that when I stepped on set, I knew how to manage people. I knew how to manage different personalities, etc. I'm what you call a consensus builder. So if you're talking to an actor and you want them to buy into the situation that you've written, you really got to build that universe for them. So it's almost as simple as, water is wet, right? Yeah. And when it's cold, water is wet and cold, right? Right. Well, you ain't got no sweater, right? And it's like you have to bring them along and build that universe for them, put that universe in front of them, and then trust that they're going to make the right choices based on your script. If you've gotten to the point where they're on set and you don't trust that actor, you fucked up a long time ago, and you're going to have to deal with that as a director.
100%.
So if you lay out the universe that you want to create and lay out those feelings for them and say, this is here, Mr. Actor, and then you got to just kind of trust that you've made the right decision, and you got to, at some point, man, you got to let them play. So it is a fine line between your artistic. I always say, if you're an actor and you come up to my set with choices made, even if they're not necessarily the same choice I would have made, when I watch you rehearse, if it doesn't piss me off, do your thing, right? If you say, Lou, this is how I'm going to do it, and I'm like, cool, that did not piss me off in any way. But as a director, if it pisses me off, if I'm like, then I'm going to have a talk with you. But if you come to set with choices made, and if you're really into that collaborative art of filmmaking, you got to let them play. De Leon, Balem, how do you feel about that?
Go ahead. Well, I think challenging them. I like challenging actors, and I would go with the more experienced actor over trying to pick somebody. On that question earlier, how you were saying, and what was the question again right now for that you were asking?
Well, no. Do you feel that do you agree with what I said about sort of building the universe, building the sort of the reality for them?
You have to make them understand your feeling that you're trying to give the viewer. You want you were saying how to coach them, and yeah, when I'm on set and I want somebody to say a line in some type of way, I try to give them that visual of like, if you were here and this person was in front of you and they said this, how the fuck would you react? And then that's when their mind starts rolling, and then yeah, you have to trust them to know what you're trying to make them think of. And if they don't have that, then why you been trying to be actors? They have to have that passion and the same vision, and for them to be able get the picture.
Well, and then Brian.
No, I totally agree with you based on what you said. To me, the big part that's missing nowadays, which is really sad, is that a lot of directors don't actually direct. They mostly focus on the cameras, the angles, and everything else versus actually directing the actor and getting the actor on to be the best version they can be in that character. I don't claim myself to be a director. I've only directed one project my entire life. But yeah, like I had an incident when one of the actors, we kept going over the take and he wasn't getting the line the way I expected it to appear on camera based on my vision. And it was a very emotional scene. So when we sent him over to makeup, I walked over, we sat down with them, started talking. I used what I normally use when I'm acting, which is going back to the basics of the character. So I started talking to him like, so what did you do when you were a kid? And the actor never actually went into discovering the character well enough. So we took it back to childhood when he was abused as a kid and everything else, and built it up from there to where he was almost in tears in the makeup room. And I was like, all right, let's step outside now, let's do it. And he was pretty much ready to do it. But that's what a lot of directors are lacking nowadays, where, like pretty much what you said, they're bringing the actor, they let the actors do the thing, but at the same time, they're not directing him. If the actor asks, how am I doing? The answer is like, you're doing good. Let's just do another take. What coach me? What else can I do to make it better for you? In other words.
Yeah.
Brian, go ahead.
No, I mean, I pretty much agree with that. I would say also, I think it really depends on whether or not the actor is actually portraying, like they're actually getting into a character-y type role, or whether or not they're kind of doing more of just like themselves in that shell. Because when they're going full character, that's when you do, if you are an actor's director, you want to go in and be like, no, I need you to deliver it like this. Like that's when you can do that kind of stuff. But the idea is that you see a lot of this problem, especially when you watch actors that aren't as comfortable on film, maybe they have a stronger theater background. As they walk in, you talk about you want them to show up making choices already. Sometimes they will go and just go for the ridiculous big choices, and you want to make sure that you can kind of fine tune it down. It's like, no, you want to make the bold but subtle choices, because the camera's right there. You want to make sure everything is just in the facial expressions. You don't need to be going crazy. We don't need jazz hands. Just take it down, relax.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Yeah.
Or I also think I hate is when actors will. I mean, I will direct actors on flaws that I know is going to make them look bad. Like, for example, there's a lot of actors that'll deliver a line, but they'll just do like a little timing mechanism, almost like a baseball, like a baseball player. They'll do that timing mechanism before they deliver the line, which I hate. So it'll be like, and then they'll say what they're going to say, and I'm just like, no. Don't do that. So, like I said, I don't. It's a fine line between working with them, giving them enough space to be creative, and not being too over the top with it. But also, you are chief cook and bottle washer. You are the guy in charge. You are the person that everything falls on. As an actor, you can just be like, oh well, it's a shit show. I'm just gonna do here, get my credit, eat my burrito, go home. But when you're the director, you're the guy that's responsible for that day. At an indie level, the director is always the producer. He's handling crafty. He's got a million things. And at this level, it's about saving the day, not wasting everybody's time. Let's make sure that we do something productive. From doing something yourself, Brian, in your movie, and then Like, did you have a time when you were like, somebody would send you footage of what they did themselves, and you were like, "This doesn't work. Do it again," or were you like in a Zoom call while they were doing it so that you guys could give each other feedback live?
Yeah, so I mean, a little bit of both. Luckily, some of the scenes that when Jace and I, we actually worked that FaceTime element into the movie, and we actually recorded it while FaceTiming for real, so I could kind of give little subtle direction hints, like, let's angle it this way just to get the framing better. It's funny, actually, one of the scenes with George, I think there was a way that I wanted a line delivered, but he made a different choice that kind of worked a little bit different for the scene, and I was actually able to chop up some of his dialogue from a different take and use it like over the microphone that another character was hearing, so I could still kind of convey it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let me catch up on every. Go ahead, George, and then I'll catch up on comments. Go ahead.
Oh no, I said I didn't even know that.
Sometimes the throwaway lines are the best ones when you're in the editing room and it's something an actor says out of character, like before or after a take, and you're like, "Fuck it, that works."
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, that happens all the time. You always get the surprises on set are always the ones that end up being like the greatest moments.
George, what was the biggest change day of on set, boots on the ground, decision or change that you had to make based on either a location, a missing actor, a missing crew member? Did you have a situation? Because I mean, it's happened to me many times on set where you're like, you sit there and you're like, oh shit, one of the main two actors isn't showing up. We're going to have to rewrite this, or or the location is just not right for what you needed. What was the biggest like on set, like, I got to change this, where you're like, all right, everybody give me 10 minutes so I can sort of work this out in my head? Did you have a moment like that?
Yeah, I think when we shot at Marty's house, there was two parts of the scene, one that was really dialogue heavy, and then the second one that had a lot of blocking with a lot of extras, and it was like a big ambush scene. And to me, it was very difficult to try to schedule both of those in one day and handle it all. So I ended up kind of sacrificing the ambush scene that didn't have all the dialogue, removed a lot of the actors that I wanted in the scene because I knew that I would not be able to get the coverage that I needed with the sun going down at the time. So it was more I would say like a sacrifice that I made, more so than I guess a problem. But good thing is everybody's down to reshoot that scene, so it's going to be as big as I wanted it to, and it's going to look like exactly like I wanted it to. So I'm excited for that.
Shout out the benevolent Marty Fowler and his never-ending roll of Rolls Royces, Lambos, and mansions to shoot at. Like I said, we used the Rolls Royce like 6 years ago. Anyway, all right, let's catch up on comments. We're talking live with the cast, part of the cast of Last Chance series, directed, created by George Jack. I've been impressed with his transition from actor to producer to director to editor. I gave him shit about his COVID protocols. He's answered all the questions that I asked him. His team has been on board, and they're doing they put out a trailer today. You can follow him on Instagram at Last Chance Series. We also have Mr. De Leon Duarte, who's dropping a music video. You can follow him along. Everybody else has their ads on their name there. One of the things that I've done as a director before, when you have an actor that is superior to another actor, or an actor that might be a little bit nervous, is shoot that good actor's part first over the shoulder of the bad actor so that you can get at least the baseline down, and then sort of give that other actor who maybe doesn't have his lines down as much a couple of chances to be able to just like read them off book and get comfortable before you flip that around. Did you have to do any of that?
No. For the most part, everybody that I invited to be part of the cast, I had either worked with previously or I had secondhand experience from either Jace or somebody else who was a producer who could vouch for them. And I had seen everybody's stuff, so I knew everybody had chops. So like I was saying before, in the fluidity of writing this script, I kind of wrote all of the characters to emulate the people already, the actors that I brought onto set. And I told everybody before set, I'm trusting you guys to make choices on this. If you guys don't necessarily see the subtext in it, that's something that I would be glad to explain to you. And I'll do that on set, which I did very few times, thankfully, because everybody did an outstanding job in terms of seeing all that stuff. But no, thankfully, I didn't have to deal with that.
All right, absolutely. All right, we're going to catch up on comments, and then we're going to do our world famous bracket bit before we let these guys go. But I also want to give George a chance to tell us a little bit about the series itself, what it's about, what was the thing that sort of sparked that into your mind in terms of something that you felt strongly about to create it. And we want to give the actors a chance to say a final words. So let me catch up on comments first. Then we're going to take a 30-second break. We'll come back, say bye to everybody. We'll do the bracket bit, and we'll wrap it up. But Hector Isaac Flores says dream team. So I'm assuming he's happy with you guys. He also wants to get chubby, sexy Colombian trending, which I am all about. Let's get that trending. Roman Valenzuela says very well put. I'm assuming we said something before. Marguerite says funny but true. CG Thomas says we did have the best fight scene in Plastic. You didn't watch it earlier? We played it, CG. We played the George Jack gets kicked in the face scene. Marguerite, it is called the piss me off barometer. Depending on how much it pisses me off to see what an actor does, I may or may not want him to change that. She also says, I like that feeling of space for unfolding creation in the director's universe. And she has a question for George. Mr. Jack, with your perspectives of taking risks with casting outside of stereotypes, do you experience any self-doubt? It just seems like it would take a lot of courage to go away from the mainstream. I personally, when I meet an actor that I want to work with, I like to ask them what they get cast in as the most. And I like to, if possible, create something that's against type for them. You know, but again, George, how would you answer this question for Marguerite?
Like I said, it's a risk, obviously, because you're casting outside of the stereotype that most people would see that person as being, and so you've just gotta be confident with your choice and like go with it. Like once you make that choice, that's it. Like don't second guess yourself, because I know a lot of us actors and a lot of us artists just in general have self-doubts, but I mean, it's just, you got to stick to your choice. That's all I got to say about that.
Yep.
That's it. All right. We're going to take a quick 45-second break. We're going to be back with the cast of Last Chance series in case everybody needs to run to the bathroom or get some water real quick. We're going to wrap it up. We're going to talk about what the series is actually about. Let's play the trailer again so people can get caught up on it. We'll get some last words from all the actors. We're live. We'll be back in a minute with Fireside Chats. And we are back. We're talking COVID protocols on a Monday. We're also talking Last Chance series with the creator, George Jack, as well as actors Brian the Action Jackson, Walem 86, Mr. De Leon, Thank you, number one, for all you guys coming on to the show. Obviously, I'm appreciative of you guys taking your time. Thank you, George Jack, for being a man and standing up and answering all the questions. Thank you, everybody that's tuned in so far. Marguerite says, "Good for you, George." And I wanted to wrap this up. I wanted to do a bracket bit with you guys since you're all on here. Since I always do one at the end of every interview or most every interview. But George, tell me a little bit about what Last Chance series is about. I think that's one thing that we haven't really talked about. Where the idea came from? Obviously, I know it started off as an idea for the quarantine challenge, but how did it make sense to you to sort of expand on it and just kind of speak a little bit about the origins of it?
So when I decided to start, me?
No, sorry. I'll mute my.
Okay.
So when I made the decision to start thinking about writing and directing, what I had done was I put a bunch of notes in my. I put a bunch of notes in my little my notes pad with a bunch of just log lines of interesting storylines that I could think of. One thing that I want to do when making films is I always want to have like an underlying message and some kind of meaning. I don't just want to make a story just to make a story. So for this first one, I think it's very timely. It's about a journalist who holds to his journalistic integrity. So it's a character study about this guy who's a journalist who nearly gets fired from his job working at a news station because he refuses to succumb to the fake news era and be a part of that, essentially. So in his refusal to do so, he nearly loses his job. He loses his girlfriend, and his life is going down the shitter because he is just holding so hard to his scruples. So I wanted to figure out whether or not we can challenge other people in holding to their integrity and holding to their morals, because I think that's important, man, because a lot of people are sellouts these days. And I think there's a lot more respect, at least in my mind, for somebody who is able to hold on to their morality and all of their value systems that they've created through their entire lives. And that's an interesting concept that I wanted to explore. And like I said, it's a timely topic at this time. So I thought that it would be, cool, I guess.
I think everybody that's ever been to Jordan's house has said there's got to be a way to put this conspiracy wall into a movie, and you figured it out, right?
That goes along with what I was saying. Like I was writing for like what I had, and I knew Jordan was already in the series, and I was like, bro, I'm gonna use that. Is that okay? And he's like, yeah, dude. Like we haven't shot it in like 3 years. So I was like, okay. So we did, and it was a really cool scene that we shot over there.
Some of the conspiracies were a little bit old on that wall, but at least it plays good. It plays good on TV.
Yeah.
And then for you guys, Brian, what is okay? Do you consider yourself more of a producer, a director, a writer, or an actor first? And if you could pick between a semi-successful career in front of the camera or being able to produce multiple projects that you create with, which one is more attractive to you?
I would much rather be an A-list actor than.
I didn't say A-list.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I would much rather do that.
Let's go. Let's say C minus.
C minus.
That's what I'm just saying. In my scenario, C minus actor or like B producer director. You still rather be the actor.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's just you have so much more fun just being on set, and you get, like William was saying earlier, getting to travel around the world. I mean, that's kind of. Like, I never really cared about let me have 12 sports cars and the stupid mansions and anything like that. I just wanted to have the money at any time to be like, guys, let's go to the Bahamas right now, and like, we would just go. And so I can't wait to actually have that ability to like, let's go shoot in Venice. Let's go shoot in Japan. That's really kind of something that's been ingrained in me since I was a kid, because I lived in Europe for a little bit. And I think it's very important for people to get out of their own zip code and get out of their country and see that there are other places.
Got it. How about Mr. Bolem? What about you? What would be your dream role, or if you could go back in movie history and replace an actor with yourself, what movie would that be?
Oh, hands down, it's going to be Forrest Gump. I love that movie.
Really?
I love that movie. That's one of my favorites. So yeah, hands down.
Robert Zemeckis, right?
Yeah, and
is that Zemeckis or was that who directed Forrest Gump? Chat, who did that? I'm thinking Robert Zemeckis is coming to my head, but it could have been somebody else that directed that.
Let's find out.
Let's find out. Hey, it's not like we have the subtotal of human knowledge at our fingertips.
It was Zemeckis.
It was Zemeckis. All right, cool.
There you
Thank
go.
you. Thank you, brain. There you go. Look at the big brain on Lou. So why does that role speak to you so much, or why does that movie speak to you?
I mean, to me, if you look at Forrest Gump, it was like one of the most successful people you can think of. I mean, the guy was in the military. He met presidents. He played football. He invested in Apple, for God's sake. He did all this stuff. But yeah, a lot of people conceived him as this retarded. I don't want to use the word retarded, but pretty much that's how they refer to him in the movie for the most of the part. And to me, that's a lot. It's like, 'cause there's so much you can learn about a person. Like one of my favorite quotes by Machiavelli from The Prince that says, "A lot people appear. Most people appears something within the lines that like people don't appear what they truly are, and only two people can see who you truly are, the type of person that you are." And that's Forrest Gump, hands down. I mean, just looking at his life, what he's gone through, what he did, the different job titles he had, and the things that he's accomplished, but yet people don't give him enough credit for it. I mean, if Forrest Gump was alive nowadays, he'll be better than Jeff Bezos, any of those people, just if he was real, based on what he's accomplished.
Well, as you said, Forrest Gump, I remember I saw that in a movie theater on 42nd Street in New York with my mom in 1990-something. I have the rare ability, many people have this too, in any movie that I saw in a movie theater, I remember where I saw it and who I saw it with, whether I saw it by myself, with a girlfriend, an ex-girlfriend, etc. And I do remember that when Titanic came out, I had to watch that 3 separate times because I was dating 2 girls at the same time, and I also went to see it with my mom. So I sat through Titanic 3 fucking times in the movie theaters in the mid-90s. That's commitment to the cause, gentlemen. That's how we do things. All right, Mr. De Leon, question for you.
Right.
They are remaking the classic Carlitos Way.
Okay.
They want you to, and it's going to be a TV series on Hulu. It's not a movie. It's just they're going to make it into a TV series, right? They want you to play Benny Blanco from the Bronx. Okay? But you also just got offered a chance to be creative director and direct a Bad Bunny video.
No.
What's your choice? What's your choice right there? Which one are you picking?
Man, I think the screen time seems more of something I would go for, because Bad Bunny. You got the big directed by De Leon at the beginning of the video. That's a lot of exposure right there. Yeah, I mean, shit, man, it depends on the video, man. Because if it's say like, for example, one of his biggest hit songs or whatever, and then that's the video I make, then that's worth it.
That's up to you, man. That's up to you.
It's just
anyway, I like to put. No, sorry, don't worry about it, man. I like to put people in, give them this or that option sometimes, just to kind of see what they react, where their passions lie. So, I mean, if the screen time is going to be better for you, then hey, that's your choice.
Well, I mean, directing is what I like. I think we got it a little bit mixed up earlier because I'm actually not an actor. I was the guy doing the sound, and I was in the crew. Yeah.
So, I mean, you're still part of the creative process, man. You're still part of the team.
No, right? Yeah. Yep.
Marguerite says, I have no rights to wine. Okay, that's fine. I'll accept that. All right. And then what's next, George? I mean, you said you're part of the way through with the script. You're part of the way through with filming.
I'm done with the script.
All right, you're done with the script, but you're part of the way through with filming, right?
Yeah.
How many more principal photography days you think you have left?
2 days left.
All right.
2 days, right? Something like that.
And you're editing this all yourself too, or did you just edit the trailer?
No, I'm editing it all myself. I edited already 3 episodes, so we're already done with 3 episodes. I've got Tony Olmos. He's helping me out with sound design and sound mix because that was the one thing I definitely couldn't fucking pick up. But
that's a pain in the butt.
Yeah, so thank God he's helping me out with that. It's a huge help. Thank you, Tony. But other than that, man, yeah, everything else I'm doing on my own.
And
I
the goal is. Go ahead.
just wanted to immerse myself in the experience of being able to take on all hats and understand all of the department heads, so I can better communicate in the future as a director with everybody.
All right, like I said, stay in your lane. I'm just kidding. No, you're getting to that point when I talk to like Aaron and I talk to other directors. You know, when I have conversations with them, it's weird because like when I talk to him in Rising Tides, and now when you're a director, you're a producer. You're basically at the top of your individual tribe with the people that you normally work with, and the actors sort of get to mix and match. Go work with this director. Go work with that director. We'll work on this project. Where we sort of stay at the top and not really commingle with each other too much, because we're all fucking with our product. So like me and Aaron both have actors like Dominic, Shelley, tons of people that were on his shows that are on my movies and stuff like that, and they have the experience working with both of us. So it's weird to make that transition. Do you think that you'll get to the point where being the director is so much fun from you that you put the acting to the side, or is that still the primary for you?
Is acting the primary for me, or is directing?
No, I'm saying, do you think you can fall in love with directing enough that you won't have the desire to act as much?
Honestly, that's already happened, man. Like I don't know how, because I was so in love with the art of acting. But I mean, I believe everything happens for a reason, and maybe it led me to fall onto this path for some reason. But either way, I just love the collaborative aspects of filmmaking, and I just want to foster that with as many people as possible.
One of the books that I read early on in my career was called The Collaborative Art of Filmmaking. And it took a movie, Dead Poet Society, and it broke it down into the writer, the director, the sound, the producer, the cinematographer, and the entire process with them. And that's really what showed me that filmmaking is a collaborative art. And it's one person's vision, but it takes a lot of people, a lot of hard work to make that vision. So the fact that you got 25 people to buy into your vision during a pandemic, and you were able to keep them relatively safe and take those protocols, even though I was giving you some shit on stream about it, I feel like I'm proud of you in a sense, because as a friend and somebody that I work with, I'm really happy that you've been able to put this out there. Obviously, there's a lot of need for content out there, and from my own perspective, March, April, I began to doing podcasts. I began doing content in my home because I knew I wasn't going to involve other people with it. I started doing Edward Film School stuff. I started doing real reviews, which you were a part of. Mm-hmm. So I needed my creative outlet, not being able to go on set. And I'm doing these podcasts because I like talking and I like hearing myself talk, obviously, but also because it allows me to connect with other creative people and sort of talk about process and stuff like that. So again, I appreciate you for coming on. I wish you nothing but the best for the series. Obviously, there's a lot of need for content. Netflix is spending billions and billions of dollars on content in New Mexico. Hulu, Amazon, HBO, they're all looking for new series, new stuff. So there's no reason, if you put out a quality product, that cannot be considered as such. And the best of luck to you going forward, gents.
Thank you, dude.
We're going to play the trailer one more time, and then we're going to do a quick bracket bet with George. We're watching Fireside Chats with Big Chief Burrito. Let's all watch the trailer for Last Chance Series.
Eddie, why you look so scared?
News has long been compromised. Intellect, morality, used to be the bar. Now it's just entertaining alarmism.
Scary Illuminati.
They got their tentacles everywhere.
If you come with us, I'll explain everything.
And you got that Jacobo stash in the mix there as well. Can't be underrated. Can't be. George,
you're muted.
Oh, sorry. Did I mute you by mistake?
No, I did because I didn't want to let that go. But you don't even know the story behind that. I mean, talking about the fluidity of the script and all that bullshit. He had a fucking mustache that he couldn't shave off in like episode 2 and 3. And then he had to shave it off the last shoot. So I had to find a workaround around it. So he has this, I don't know why he has these, but he's got these like fake mustaches. So I had to shoot a shot of him removing a fake mustache to make up for the last scene that was like previous to that in the timeline. It was ridiculous.
You
trying a little bit with his hair, but yeah.
You had to do Henry Cavill shit with him. You had to digitize his stash.
Yeah, I'm not good enough with that, but I had to like work around it. Like I had a scene, a shot with him removing it.
Well, gentlemen, if you're ever on my set and I'm coughing, it's not because of COVID. Just FYI.
California cough.
That's a California cough. All right, guys. As everybody knows, we do a bracket bid on this show. Since we got 4 people, I'm going to have to be the deciding vote. But it's time for bracket bid. All right, and the bracket bid that I have chosen for this show with you guys is Netflix shows. So I have a list of Netflix shows since that's the Last Chance series is going to get picked up for big money for Mr. George Jack so that he can hire me to come on and be a guest director for a couple of episodes, FYI. So I've put on the, in my opinion, top 32 Netflix shows of all time. These are Netflix shows that Netflix owns. So not The Office, not Breaking Bad, which were originally AMC and NBC shows that are now on Netflix. I'm talking about created and paid for by Netflix themselves, all right? So I'm going to give you 2 shows. You guys tell me, for whatever reason, which show you like the most or which show you move on. Are you guys ready?
Seaway.
All right, so if for some reason there's a tie, I'll be the tiebreaker since there's 4 of you. All right, so in the first, let me see this. Are you guys still there? All right,
small.
All right, you guys are still
there. I know, I can't even read it.
All right, so in the first round, we got BoJack Horseman, best show of all time, just FYI, that's my vote, or the Triple Frontier show with like Ben Affleck and all the dudes.
Oh, the movie.
That was a movie, though.
That was a movie. Oh yeah. So these are not Netflix shows. These are Netflix properties.
Got it. Triple Frontier.
Triple Frontier.
Yeah, absolutely.
Triple Frontier. All right, Triple Frontier moves on. That is the biggest mistake I've ever heard in my life. BoJack Horseman is quite possibly the best show of all time. So this is already fake news, and this is a fake bracket. Fake bracket. All right, Luke Cage or Narcos?
Narcos.
I'm gonna go with Narcos. That's hard though.
That's a tough one for round 1. We got The Get Down or Master of None with Aziz.
Master of None for me.
I haven't seen either one of them.
All right,
I don't even know.
Master of None wins by default. All right, El Camino, which is qualified because it is in the Breaking Bad universe, but it is a Netflix movie, or Bird Box.
I like Bird Box.
Me too. Bird Box.
Yeah, Bird Box.
Bird Box moves on. All right, One Day at a Time, Latinx show, just got canceled, did 2 seasons on Netflix, then moved on, One Day at a Time, or The Haunting of Hill House.
Haunting of Hill House.
All right, we got Daredevil, or
Daredevil wins,
or Mindhunter.
Dude, you haven't seen Mindhunter, have you?
Mindhunter's a big.
It's fucking dope.
It's good, but
it's David Fincher.
It doesn't have steady cam, 1-take fight scene, so.
I know Daredevil's so good too. Fuck.
All right, so we got 1 vote for Daredevil, 1 vote for you voting for Mindhunter, Jack.
Yeah.
All right.
Daredevil.
De Leon.
Mindhunter.
Mindhunter. That means it's a tie. All right, I'm gonna go with Mindhunter. 1 season of Fincher, I'll take that. All right, Orange is the New Black or Marriage Story.
I didn't see Marriage Story. That's the one with
Scarlett Johansson and Ben Solo.
Adam Driver, right?
Yeah.
Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson get divorced.
I saw that big scene, the big fight scene.
Suffering for 2 hours.
Orange is the New Black is the Cadillac of Netflix shows. That's the reason a lot of people join Netflix in the first place. So Orange is the New Black or Marriage Story.
Orange is the New Black.
Yeah, Orange.
All right. The Crown. I don't know if you guys seem like people that watch The Crown. But The Crown, and then there's also a movie called Beast of No Nation with Idris Elba.
Yeah, Beast of No Nation. Yeah.
Beast of No Nation. All right.
That was the first movie that came out on both Netflix and theaters.
Okay.
That was the first movie in history that came out on Netflix and theaters.
Oh, damn.
Breaking Bad, Missouri Hillbilly Edition, Ozark, or the for cinephiles only Roma.
Ozark, hands down.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ozark's pretty badass. Umbrella Academy or Dear White People.
I like Umbrella.
I don't like those superhero stuff, but Umbrella is actually pretty good.
All right, Umbrella. All right, guys. Umbrella moves on. Making a Murderer, one of the original homicide shows, or the brand new Selena.
The making of the Yeah, the Selena one sucks, dude.
Which, if you think about it,
they're not.
Both of them
right.
could be called Making a Murderer.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Yeah.
Making a Murderer moves on. Sorry, apologize to my Selena fans for that joke. The Dark Crystal. They got one good season and then they got canceled. Or the animated hit Big Mouth.
Haven't seen either.
Haven't seen either?
No.
All right. Netflix, do your marketing better. I'm going to go with The Dark Crystal. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
You would put these two together.
I know. I was looking at that too. I was like,
sorry about
Extraction wins. Extraction wins.
Hands down, Sam here.
Extraction. We got 2 votes for Extraction. No Stranger Things fans so far.
No, I'll vote for Stranger Things.
Hemsworth, man, you gotta go.
I don't. Which Hemsworth is this? It's the non. Is it the Thor Hemsworth or it's another Hemsworth? It's Chris,
It's
right?
the Hemsworth.
The Hemsworth.
The Hemsworth. Sorry, Liam and
Stranger Things.
Oh, is it 2-2? So
I mean,
2-2. All right, so that means I pick, and I'm gonna go with Stranger Things. I like geeky stuff. All right. Glow about the gorgeous women of wrestling or The Witcher.
Witcher
moves on. Jessica Jones or When They See Us.
Jessica Jones.
Yeah, I was thinking about the same thing.
Yeah, I'll go with Jessica.
All right. The Irishman.
Irishman.
House Cards.
One House of Cards. Everybody else for Irishman.
The Irishman's great, but you could cut an hour out of that movie. I love Scorsese, but man.
I'm gonna kill your character off in last year. You better reverse that vote.
How dare you talk about Scorsese like that? Number one.
Scorsese.
House of Cards had its run, but Kevin Spacey fucked that shit all the way up.
That's the epitome of separating art from artists, because that show was perfect when that came out. You can.
Let me ask this to the chat and to anybody else watching. When you watch, and you guys too, when you watch Seven, does it lessen it that he's in it at all for you? For me, it's still the same fucking movie. But is there enough retconning and shit like that where people are like, he's in this, blah blah blah? No, I don't think so. I think people still can appreciate the art.
Hey, speaking of Seven and off topic, did anybody see the new trailer that just came out today with Denzel Washington, Jared Leto, and Rami Malek? Oh my!
Yeah.
Oh, the only relevant trailer that came out today is Coming to America too.
Oh, that came out too.
that was fucking awesome.
That was good.
I did not see the one that you told me about that you just said that, but that sounds interesting as well. All right, we're moving on. This is the bracket bit. All right, moving on. Triple Frontier or Narcos? Narcos?
Yeah.
Do I hear a third vote for Narcos? All right. Yeah. Master of None or Bird Box?
Bird Box.
The Hunting of Hill House or Mindhunter?
Hill House.
Mindhunter.
1 and 1. Mindhunter.
Oh shit. Yeah, Mindhunter.
Mindhunter?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Beast of No Nation or Orange is the New Black?
Beast of No Nation.
Ozark or The Umbrella Academy?
Ozark.
Making a Murderer or The Dark Crystal?
Making a Murder.
Making a Murder.
Sure.
Stranger Things or The Witcher?
The Witcher.
Stranger Things.
1 and 1. 1 and 1.
We voted for Extraction.
Yeah, I still love Stranger Things, but
all I hear is 2 votes so far.
Stranger Things.
Stranger
Things. All right. Jessica Jones or The Irishman? This is an easy one, right?
Jessica Jones.
Yeah.
Boo!
But can it beat Stranger Things? I don't think so. Stranger Things or The Irishman?
Irishman.
Irish.
Boo!
You got three Irishmen.
Three Irishmen. Oh my God! Stranger
God.
Things get knocked out.
Are we watching
all
the
of,
same movie?
all the
2 hours
fandom,
of driving.
all the fandom is pissing themselves now. Ozark or Making a Murderer?
Ozark.
Mindhunter or Beast of No Nation?
Mindhunter.
I mean, we were just talking about Seven. Fucking Fincher's a fucking genius.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Narcos or Bird Box?
Narcos.
All right. For our final four is Narcos, Mindhunter, Ozark, The Irish.
Well, we're just gonna call Narcos the winner already. If we're
pretty much.
Ozark or Irishman?
Ozark.
Right. Ozark?
Ozark.
Ozark, right? Or what do you guys
Ozark.
think? Ozark? Ozark versus Narcos is a work final. Ozark is a fucking good show. I've had people that saw Ozark before Breaking Bad and were like, that's not the right order to watch those two shows, but they were like, Ozark is a superior show, but Ozark is a really, really good show. Narcos has a fucking gangster ass edge. This is the cast of Last Chance series. I chose the movies. They move the bracket along. So I need a final vote for all you guys in the finale of Netflix shows, Narcos versus Ozark. I'm going to go with George Jack first.
I already know I'm going to lose, but Ozark.
Brian the Action Jackson.
Narcos.
Bula.
Narcos, man.
I'm
Narcos.
actually doing Ozark too.
Ozark. Oh, let's do two. Oh my God. All right. I'm going to let the chat decide. We got people watching live. Let me know. We'll do 30 seconds. If you want to vote right now, tell me Narcos or Ozark, which is the best Netflix show of all time. Even if we only get a couple of votes, let me know. If not, you're going to make me make the decision. I don't want to make the decision. Ozark or Narcos? Let's see if anybody comments or if not.
Yeah, but for the real life stuff.
Or for the real life stuff. Let's see. Let's see if I can get people to fucking put down their phone. All right. Hector says Narcos. Thank you for your vote.
Ozark is real though.
I know it's not.
Hey, dude.
I was checking a red, and it was one of the, Netflix.
We only got, all right, well, here's my reasoning, because it seems like I might be making this final decision. I love Narcos. But there was one problem with it, which is I am from Medellin, Colombia. So I know how a person from Medellin talks. And the entire rest of the cast that was Pablo Escobar's crew sounds incredibly native, except Pablo Escobar, who's actually from Brazil, the actor, and who learned his lines phonetically. Phonetically.
Really?
Yeah, he learned it because he speaks Portuguese. So he had to learn the accent. So, Medellin accent, oye, María, pues parte, todo bien, que yo pues parcero.
That's the cool thing about the theme song is it's a Brazilian artist doing the same thing, singing in Spanish. It's kind of like a homage to him. So.
That being said, it's a great show. It takes a look at something. There's also the part about me being, Colombians, Mexicans being like, all right, enough already with the Pablo Escobar stories because I've seen a million of them. Ozark is always going to be second place to me. So in this bracket, and because Hector also voted for it, we're going to go with Narcos as the winner, as the top-rated Netflix show in the bracket bid. I'm sorry, Ozark. And even though I said what I said about the first season, it was still an overall enjoyable process. And hopefully we can put Last Chance series on the list for the next bracket bit as top web series picked up for full production by Netflix or Hulu in 2021. Right, Mr. Jack?
Let's do it, man. It's a team effort.
All right, guys, any final words over here? Anything else you guys want to say? Go ahead. Now's the time.
Oh, you guys.
We all know Extraction really wins, but
Extraction got robbed in the first round. Sorry.
Hey, but I also want to throw in there Dark. You didn't put Dark on there. It's a German show. Me and Bo talked about that today, and it's a really good show. And then he had one also, Money Heist, right?
Money Heist, yeah.
Money Heist. Okay. I always do that as well, which is what is the biggest omission in your mind from the bracket? So Dark and Money Heist.
Also, El Ganador from Nicky Jam. That's a good one, too.
Which one?
The Nicky Jam one, the El Ganador. El Ganador.
Okay.
Documentary?
El Ganador. Yeah, it's a series, Netflix. He goes through his whole struggle, like drug problems and his family, and then he moved to Colombia, and then he's got his second win in the music game, and it's a dope story.
I love Nicky Jam, so yeah, I'll watch that shit.
All right, guys. Well, I want to thank everybody that's been on that came by today, and I want to make sure that everybody follows you guys. Follow these guys' ads right there. Also, make sure that you follow us. Throw us a like on Facebook.com/2amburrito, Twitch.tv/2amburrito, and if you're not already, subscribe to the YouTube channel, YouTube.com/2amburrito. You can watch some of the stuff that I did with Mr. Jack, all the old interviews, catch up, etc. As always, my name is Lou Martinez, aka Big Chief Burrito. Thank you for everybody that has come on the comment and everybody that paid attention to you guys. Like I said, I wish you all the best. I'm gonna let this outro play. We can do a post-mortem afterwards if you guys want. If not, I will talk to you guys later. Peace out, everyone.